Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm excited to share with you the last and the fourth painting in my series of mixed media artworks. This one is entitled Mermaid Hallows, and it's the concluding piece of my 4-piece mixed media work. And you could see that entire thing in my vlog. You could just click in the cards. So let's begin. In this time-lapse video, I want to talk about how to create art in the middle of a world crisis. And it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time because last year I surprised myself into creating a lot more intricate works than I have been doing. And even though it's not a lot of work, it's a year that I thought everything would have stopped, but it didn't, and I just kept on trying to be creative and trying my best. So let's talk about it. When I think about last year, it started really great for me, honestly. On January, I had a group exhibition in an art museum, and it was so fun because that museum was very well known and there were a lot of people who attended the show. And by February, I got a job at an art fair, and it was also an exciting experience because I get to meet a lot of people, and I really loved the booth that I worked for this time because a few years ago when I was working in art fair booths, usually it's not a great experience for me because some of the people that I'm reporting to, they're not as kind as I imagine them to be. But for this year, I really think that it's lucky because the booth that I went to was exciting within itself, and at the same time the person that I reported to was very kind, and I really enjoyed the experience. And during that time, I get to meet a lot of people and I got to book 2 exhibitions. And this is a big thing for me because in the past years, I've been having a hard time trying to book exhibitions, and I only get to book 1 exhibition a year. And it's really hard because I'm not a social person, and the art industry world gallery showing, it's all a social event. And sometimes it's really hard to get your shows when you're not a social person. So I was very happy that I get to book 2 shows last year, but I think it all went into shambles when March came and those shows were pushed back or canceled, and the commission that I was doing at that time for a friend was also canceled. So everything that I was looking forward was gone. Like how it happened around the world, everything just stopped. And I know I'm lucky because I still live with my parents and they support my art career and everything, and I'm lucky that I'm able to provide for myself during this time. And I know that a lot of people haven't, but I relate to the feeling of wanting something to work out and it not working out, and it's not your fault. And that really put me into an emotional state, and I couldn't do anything. Like every type of artwork that I was doing after that point was very forced, and I couldn't make something that I could relate to. So this is the first point. Emotions are there. They're always going to be there, and they linger. And even though they linger, they pass. So looking back, I think because of what happened, I've tried to regulate my emotions a bit more effectively by exercising and by journal writing. And it's hard as well because you can't meet with people. You can't go to the mall to have a great dinner to make yourself feel better. You can't even shop. And that's the thing about these little things that we lost last year, that it's hard to bring them back. And it's hard to imagine that they're still happening until today. The pandemic isn't really over, and there will be a lot more emotions. And for me, I think acknowledging my emotions by writing them and by trying to do a lot of different things is a good way for me. And I've been creative last year, probably in about May or June. I actually entered a competition and I think I made one of my best works. But spoiler, I didn't win anything. And I thought that it's just this year I couldn't get what I wanted. But I guess being creative doesn't mean that you need to really win everything. You just need to keep on going. And so I try to think more about not working for something, but working for myself. Trying to work in a way that I don't push myself and try to blame it on myself. I don't know if that makes sense. So I tried working in a pattern where if I don't feel really good, I won't work at all. Or sometimes I would work for 10 minutes, then I would do it in a week, 10 minutes a day, and then I would get to a point that I could do like 5 to 6 hours a week, trying to build a work ethic that works for me, because it has been really a challenging time for being an emotional person such as myself. And I've been talking to a lot of people recently online, just through chats and video chats with my friends, and they feel the same way. And I guess that's also one of the things that really helped me along, even though it's not as good as meeting your friend in person. Video calls and chats, they work. And knowing that another person feels the same way, it makes me feel comforted in a way that I can deal with this. The feeling of, okay, I know I can do this, and I know I can deal with this, and I'll let this pass. In the past, I've always tried to be more proactive, but last year I just tried to be more relaxed, and I think that helped a lot. But at the same time, it didn't bring the peace that I want. I think also a lot of people would relate to having a lot of these anxieties in the pandemic, because it's such a weird time to be alive, especially in my 20s, where this is supposed to be the best time of your life and you're wasting it away at home. I don't know if it makes sense, but I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and more important issue than being sick is being mentally unstable, and that's true. And sometimes I think we just need to really realize that we can't keep on hustling our way out of our emotions. We need to understand and give a name to them, I guess, and try to figure out a way on why these things exist. And I think that's the thing that has been driving my entire creative process in the past year. Whenever I work in the past year until now, I think about the things that I feel, and I try to illustrate them in a way that makes me feel at least a bit better. And this series that I've been doing is sort of like a narrative that I made consisting of fantastic materials, because it makes me feel better when I try to imagine my problems as these images, and I try to exert more effort by moving instead of staying in one place. I've also seen that in a lot of different platforms, daily drawings is something that people recommend, and I think it's great, but it didn't work for me the past year because I don't know, sometimes there are days when you just can't, right? You just can't. I mean, it's hard, it's sort of weird, and in a way it kind of feels like everything is just filled up to the point where you don't feel like working. And the thing that I've realized about that is it's okay. It's okay to feel that way, and it will be okay. Telling myself those things all the time when I feel a little bit overwhelmed, I think it helped me a lot through the last months because, the first few months you're surprised, and then the next few months you're numb, and then the last few months you're just willing to explode. So I got this idea from the movie Three Idiots, where the main character said that if you trick your heart for a moment, you will believe it. And I think the tagline for that movie is all is well. But for me, I like to say it is okay and it will be okay. I don't know what works for you, but try it. Try to say something to yourself, a phrase that is very comforting, and try to believe it in a moment to bring you back in reality. I think that's one of the things that really helped me a lot, because I've been going around emotionally this entire time, and I'm glad that it's been a year. And after a year, at least there are a lot of things that I learned. I also want to talk about my process, how it's changed, and usually I try my best to be a person who plans her work from the moment I think about it and from the moment I finish it. But it just doesn't work when you're in the middle of this emotional storm. It just doesn't. Sometimes you need to let go. Let it go and just do whatever it is on your mind. I guess in the creative process, it's hard to be consistent all the time because it's not the same as other jobs with different procedures and a list of things to do. It's a very personal thing, and the more you discover your personal insecurities, your personal working method, the more you will be effective. And that's one of the things that I want to share, is that trying to discover a thing that works for you is different for every people. So it's important to ask questions about, what are the things that are important to me? What are the things that I want to do? What do I want to see? And trying to answer them truthfully and trying to do them one step at a time, I think it helps. Probably this is my last point. You just need to start doing things, and it doesn't mean that everything needs to be finished. You just need to keep on doing it, maybe every other day, maybe daily if you have the energy. Just keep on doing things and try to move yourself when you're stuck. One of the things that I found last year was that I'm always physically and mentally stuck. And a way to push me out of that space is to try to take a little walk, even around my house. Try to drive around even though I'm not going anywhere. Trying to eat something that I like in the middle of the day when it's not even lunch yet. Trying to make myself feel something, starting small stuff that I feel that would push me into something greater. And this is the main energy of my entire piece, these 4 pieces. I started doing a painting that I have put off for the last year. I just started painting on it. I started putting glitters on it, and now I've arrived at the 4th painting. And I just look back that if I hadn't started doing anything, just the smallest thing, I don't think I would have gotten to a point where I now have 4 paintings. And it doesn't have to be a lot, it just needs to be something. And yeah, probably I'd like to say is, remember that everything will have to be okay in the end. And I hope and believe that for you, and I hope and believe that for me. So thank you so much for watching this video. I have been having a hard time writing a script, and I just threw my script out of the window and I just talked and talked, and I hope that I made sense. In the comments, you can share down below what are your experiences with this entire world crisis, and I hope that it's getting better for you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.